My favorite part of the day, and it's not even remotely close. Let's go ahead. Let's get into a fantasy football draft here, ladies and gentlemen. I've literally been waiting all day for this. Now, sadly, this will be our last entry into the Dalmatian 2. This is the $100 buy-in on Underdog. You get 3 max entries for this tournament, but I'll show you all the tournament structure here. I believe this is my third. I could be wrong here, but nonetheless, $100 buy-in, $300,000 prize pool. First place is $30,000. Second place is $20,000. Third place is $15,000. So a little bit of a smaller tournament in comparison to if you were going to be looking at Best Ball Mania, right? Where Best Ball Mania is a $25 buy-in, $15 billion prize pool. To be honest with you, I personally actually prefer these that are a little bit smaller of a field. And what is hilarious is before this live stream started, there was someone who sent this in the chat. I was going to ignore it, but after they called it, I got to point it out. Someone sent out, this is a pre-recorded video that we get pick 5. I have no idea how someone guessed pick 5. I can't find that message in the live chat anymore. Okay. Here, Sam says, Mace, this is pre-recorded and you get the 5th spot. No idea how he called that. He sent that in the chat like 10 minutes ago. So maybe, just maybe, Sam's on to us. Maybe this is pre-recorded. And yes, the pound says must be true. I guess it has to be true because we do get pick 5 here. And y'all know what we're going to do. We are going to hope that we have a wide receiver we like falling to us. But we'll see. We'll see. Rickster on the clock. Don't see too many badge drafters in here. You have OMG always out with us, ready to take our money, of course. Then we have Brink over there at pick 12 that also has a red and white badge. But outside of that, nobody has a badge. Okay. Cup goes. So we are going to make a bad selection. We will take Stephon Diggs. I will continuously take Stephon Diggs over Christian McCaffrey, over Bijan Robinson. And yes, we will make sure we get our wide receiver here in round 1. That way we're able to take advantage of our running back values later on. As you know, I'd love to do. As you know, I can't help myself. But Jeep Guy says, thought this was live, unsubbing. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, pre-recorded response as well. Yes, all these chat messages are pre-recorded. And if you are watching this as a video later on, somehow, some way, I mean, I'm just putting on a show here for y'all. But A-Dub says, who's your 105 in an ESPN half PPR redraft league? So definitely a different answer than if it was going to be an underdog draft, right? I mean, if you're in an underdog draft where it's best ball, you have to start 3 wide receivers. There in general, I'm going to be pushing wide receivers up because you will not be able to find wide receiver values that you like in round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wide receivers are disgusting by the time you get to that point. And I really want to be taking advantage of running back value. But if you're just in like a casual ESPN league, right, where you're going to be able to find wide receiver values that you really like in the middle rounds, then in that case, I'm going to go ahead and at pick 5, here's how I would rank those players from a casual redraft perspective, not an underdog best ball draft. I would go Jefferson, Chase, still 1 and 2. But then after that, I would go CMC 3. I would go Austin Eckler 4. And then honestly, if you only start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex, then I would love to grab the elite level tight end and Travis Kelce at 5. So obviously, very, very different than what we would be doing in an underdog draft. But a big thing you always have to do in fantasy football, regardless of if it's a dynasty, redraft, best ball, is you have to go ahead and you have to make sure you are adjusting to your league format. But Olave off the board here at 18. Yeah, so this is specifically why I understand a lot of people probably will hate the fact that we went ahead and took Stephon Diggs over CMC. But I would rather have the combination of Stephon Diggs, Saquon Barkley than the combination of T. Higgins, Christian McCaffrey. Please, please, please let me know. Jesse says, Sup Mason, filled out the Google form for the shirt before June and haven't received the shirt yet. Did they run out fast? You should have received the shirt if you were a small, medium, large, extra large. It should already be there. If you're a double XL, I'm working on getting double XLs for everybody. If you have not received your shirt, please reach out to me. The most likely scenario is the email address that you gave for flockfantasy.com or the email address that you gave for Underdog Fantasy was not correct. If you are a small, medium, large, extra large, you should already have that shirt, my friend. And of course, real quick side note, but before we get any further, I only have to let you know this a million times. We are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. These are best ball drafts, no time commitment at all during the season. So I drafted over 700 teams and won $150,000 last year. If you want to get in a draft with us, you can pretty much anywhere. Here are all the states that Underdog is available in. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK with the link in the live chat description or comment section, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get my 2023 fantasy football rankings, plus you'll get a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And also, if you are a member of flockfantasy.com and you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, make sure you go ahead and fill out that Google form in the Discord. That way I can get you free exclusive Underdog/Flock merch. And if you're a member of flockfantasy.com and use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, make sure you go to your account page on flockfantasy.com, put in your Underdog username, and you'll get an extra $10 free added into your Underdog account. I need to talk about that more because I worked my butt off to get that for y'all, and I need to make sure y'all are taking advantage. But Cameron coming out with the donation, thank you, says, 10-team super flex. We have Allen, Lawrence, Fields, Hall, Etienne, Gibbs, Hill, Olave, London, Ridley, Higgins, Pat Frymuth, Evan Ingram. What would you move Allen plus for Mahomes? Could package with Flowers, win now, but also looking long-term. Hell, if I'm sitting here and I have Josh Allen and I could trade Josh Allen and Zay Flowers and go get Patrick Mahomes, I will. What I would honestly probably rather do is package together Justin Fields in a piece to go get Mahomes. Like if you could go Justin Fields, Drake London, Justin Fields, Drake London, and Calvin Ridley, Justin Fields, Drake London, and Evan Ingram, Justin Fields, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram. I would prefer making that move for Mahomes. But if you want to go ahead and if you want to trade Josh Allen and say Flowers, I would go ahead and do that as well. It's really, really hard to quote unquote overpay for Patrick Mahomes in a Dynasty Superflex League. It's almost impossible. Now, Jay Swaggy coming out of the donation, thank you, said, had a Best Ball Mania draft on Underdog earlier from pick 7. We started with CMC, Taylor, Jacobs, Judy, Fields, Hawkinson through the first 6 picks. Sounds really exciting. The thing is, were we able to catch up on wide receiver later on? Like, that's the big question. If you were able to catch up with wide receivers later on, that's awesome. Okay. And then we had a question coming out from, I believe, A-Dub says, are you going to make any rankings for casual ESPN redraft leagues or just stick to Underdog? No, we'll definitely have rankings for casual ESPN redraft leagues. The thing is, just right now in June, everybody and their mom's getting in these Underdog drafts. Nobody's really drafting their casual ESPN redraft league June 17th. And even if you are just preparing for your casual redraft league, this is still extremely useful for people with those realistic expectations this next season. So right now we are primarily sticking to those Underdog rankings, but we'll transition a little more towards redraft as we get closer to the season. I really like our team so far. Grabbing Mike Williams here, I really like this roster. So far at wide receiver, we have Stephon Diggs, Mike Williams. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley. Quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts. Damn, this is exciting. This is exciting. Jay Unny says, was at the 111 in the slow puppy draft and got the start of Diggs, Lamb, Etienne, Andrews, Pittman, Mixon, Pickens, Montgomery. I really like it. You are very rarely seeing George Pickens fall that far and very rarely seeing Joe Mixon fall that far. Right now, Joe Mixon has an ADP, I believe, of 52, 51, so somewhere around there. Depends on how it updated overnight. But yeah, getting those kind of values really strong and a very balanced start out the gate as well. Awesome, guys. So setting yourself up to take Goddard in the 7th. Of course, you know we're setting ourselves up for some 7th round Dallas Goddard. Okay. Now we have DJ Moore off the board here at 47. Good for us to see Burrow go. Hopefully this team here at 50 decides to take Justin Fields to pair up with DJ Moore. I think we can assume that's what they decide to do. Of course, Justin Fields not really something that we're wanting to see, considering the fact that, hell, We take Jalen Hurts in round 3. So if you go round 3, Jalen Hurts, you're not really excited about drafting Justin Fields in round 5. Jeep Guy says, what is your favorite adult beverage? Not a big drinker. Like, in general, if I go out with some friends, I'll just have like a crappy light beer. You know, like it's all the same to me. And I've actually committed whenever I'm in the part of the season that I am live streaming every single day, I just go literally 0 alcohol, 0 drinks at all. So since we are now to the point where we are live streaming every single day until the end of the football season, I've told everybody, and I'm going to stand by it, I won't have another drink until 2024. So yeah, not a big drinker, so probably not the best guy to ask. Okay. Now, Stephon Diggs, Mike Williams, wide receiver, Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, running back, Jalen Hurts at QB, most likely going to be looking to go wide receiver, pick 68, and then go Dallas Goedert, pick 77. Yeah, let's do this. Cito says, if Goddard gets hurt, you're finished. You should stop drafting him so much. I think I have like 15% Dallas Goedert. Let me pull up. Maybe it's like up to 16, 17%. Let me see how much Dallas Goedert I have. It's nothing crazy. Okay. I have 17% Dallas Goedert now. So I don't let myself really get above 20% on any player. I do have Lance, I think slightly over 20% right now, but yeah, we're at 25% Lance. Nobody else is over 20%. Okay, Lockett, Deontay Johnson go. Deontay Johnson has just continued to slide up boards. And I actually saw this tweeted out by Underdog earlier today. But if you're looking at the player props they have on Underdog right now, and you look at some of the wide receivers in this range, like Calvin Ridley's player prop is 855 receiving yards. Calvin Ridley goes round 3. Deontay Johnson is higher than Calvin Ridley. And Deontay Johnson used to go around like 7, 8 in these drafts. This makes me feel good about not really drafting Calvin Ridley at all this year. But honestly, it makes me feel like we should maybe start drafting a little more Deontay Johnson. Let's get back to this draft. Aaron Jones off the board. Aaron Jones goes 63. Miles Sanders 64. Kittle 65. Dave says, pretty sure I have 0 Ridley, but that could be a major regret. I don't want to say I have 0 Ridley. I'm kind of in the same boat, just a little bit. We really have, I don't want to say no option, but we have limited options in what we can do here. I think that in a vacuum, Alexander Madison's definitely a better pick than Treylon Burks, but given the lessons that we've had to learn the hard way in these drafts, we kind of have to go ahead and take a wide receiver here. It really sucks to see Dallas Goedert go right after, so sadly, we are not going to get Dallas Goedert here on the way back around at pick 77. If I knew Goddard was not going to be in play at 77, maybe that impacts our decision to go Treylon Burks, because my assumption was that we were going to have to take Dallas Goedert at pick 77. And under that assumption, I felt like we just absolutely had to get a wide receiver, which clearly that did not play out that way. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But a Rec coming out with a donation. Thank you. Says, why is Dalton Schultz falling so far? Young quarterbacks love their tight ends, and he's one of the better ones out there. Easy red zone touchdowns. My most drafted player at 22%. I actually have a decent amount of Dalton Schultz as well, which I'm not too excited about. I mean, in general, I think with Dalton Schultz, you're kind of chasing cheap targets, right? And I have 15% Dalton Schultz. So I have a lot of Dalton Schultz. You're chasing cheap targets, but I will say I don't necessarily know if there's too much touchdown upside there. Just in general, if you are looking at this Houston Texans passing offense, probably going to be one of the worst passing offenses in the league this next season. Like, let's go ahead and let's go back to the props that you have on Underdog just to get a sense of what the actual projections are for this offense in Houston. So if we're going to be looking at CJ Stroud's at 3,400 passing. That's actually higher than I expected. That's higher than I expected. That's higher than Jordan Love. Maybe we need to revisit this. Okay, I just got the ding that we are on the clock, so let's pull this back up. Lawrence picked 77. Do we really want it? Do we have to go Evan Ingram in the next round? No, let's not do that. Let's take DeAndre Swift to pair up with Jalen Hurts. At least Swift has some receiving down ability. Now, DeAndre Swift continues to fall in these drafts as he should. But, yeah, let's go ahead and let's take DeAndre Swift there. And then, yeah, interesting call with Schultz. Honestly, to see those projections on Underdog, I'm a little more excited to even go through and look into grabbing more Dalton Schultz here. Tawny coming out. Happy to see you, my friend. Says, first-year dynasty player in an established league was offered Pickens and a second for JSN and a fourth. Okay, so in general, if you're a first-year dynasty player, a big rule of thumb that I would have is any rookie pick that's not a first-round rookie pick is not going to move the needle for you in trades like that. Like, in general, like moving from a fourth-round rookie pick to a second-round rookie pick is not that big of a deal. Both players should have a very low expected hit rate. So I would much prefer just going with the better wide receiver, and the better wide receiver is definitely Jackson Smith and Jigba in my mind. Like if you're looking at these underdog drafts, JSN literally goes here, pick 58. George Pickens goes 73. JSN's a rookie. You don't really know what Tyler Lockett's going to be in Seattle in 2024. So I definitely stay with JSN there, my friend. Okay. But yeah, after we take Swift, you have Lawrence going off directly after a pick 78. And real quick, I forgot to mention this. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 350 likes on the stream, we will fire up another draft after this one. And if you want to be in our next draft, of course, make sure you go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. You'll get a free trial to flockfantasy.com. You can get into some fun drafts with us. I mean, hell, this $100 buy-in, $30,000 for first. I mean, if you're new to Underdog, you definitely stick with like the $5 buy-ins, but still. And then you can also check out all the player props. The player props are in the exact same place as these drafts. Now, Kadarius Toney goes off the board 87. I have seen Toney falling more in these drafts as of late. I believe yesterday, I actually drafted Kadarius Toney in the 8th round, which was our first time drafting Toney in the longest time. But that's because Toney generally goes in the 6th. Round 8. Yeah, I think it's a fine price point. Round 6 is just way more difficult to get excited about. Okay. Bateman goes 90. Jamison Williams off the board. Okay. I know. I get it. We probably shouldn't do it. But we will go ahead and we will take Javonte Williams. My monkey brain simply will not allow me. I'm not capable of drafting Cortland Sutton and or Michael Thomas ahead of Javonte Williams. I think the wide receivers in this range are gross as hell. And that is why I personally go through and take Treylon Burks there at pick 68. Like, even if I think Alexander Madison's a better pick than Treylon Burks, you kind of have to pick your spots. You kind of have to take your L's. And I'll take my L, take Treylon Burks there at pick 68. We can get Javonte at 92. I understand Javonte Williams is going to miss some time this season. A lot of people think Javonte Williams will miss a lot of time this upcoming season. That's why you're getting Javonte Williams down here in round 8. But at the same time, 4 teams advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament in this contest out of this 12-team league. So what I'm more so focused in on is trying to find the upside in weeks 15, 16, 17, which I believe Javonte Williams will have a decent amount of. If you are drafting in a private draft on Underdog and not a tournament-style contest where instead it's going to be cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17, then yes, not a good idea to take Javonte Williams here. But if you're getting into a tournament where we're trying to optimize for that fantasy football playoff tournament, that's where I want to be taking Javonte over the wide receivers in this range. JB says, Mason, would you have taken Kittle over Burks if he had fallen to you? Yes, I would have taken Kittle over Burks if Kittle would have fallen to us, and I probably would have ruined this team because of it. Okay, so Odell goes. So looks like wide receivers not in play yet again. I mean, unless you really wanted Juju Smith-Schuster here at pick 101. P. Ryan off the board. So we'll go ahead. We'll take Evan Ingram. I mean, I think you can make a strong argument that these quarterbacks are great values. The primary issue being is we take Jalen Hurts in round 3. So when we grab Jalen Hurts round 3, it's not like we're too excited to go ahead and grab another quarterback here. So with Ingram, I mean, it kind of is what it is. I think that we have the ability to only have to draft 2 tight ends now. We don't necessarily want to lock in another running back, because if we lock in another running back, that'll be our last running back selection of the entire draft. Evan Ingram falls a considerable amount past ADP. I'm assuming Homer here was really wanting Evan Ingram on the way back around here at pick 102, but it is what it is. Okay, let's move this down. Tua makes it to 106. Pat Freiermuth goes 107. Anthony Richardson makes it all the way down to 108. Richardson's been a big-time follower over the past month. I mean, people were excited about drafting Anthony Richardson back in round 7 a couple weeks ago. Gino goes 109. Who is the Lamb team? Okay, Homer was the CeeDee Lamb team. This team decided to pass on Dak Prescott in favor of Brian Robinson. Okay, let's move this down. Jesse says 2 QB and 2 tight end. It's a definite possibility, specifically because this is a smaller tournament on Underdog. I'll show this off just one more time in case you didn't see it. This is the Dalmatian. This is the $100 entry, 3,200 entrance. Here in these higher stakes leagues, I'm always willing to go ahead and grab the extra tight ends. I'm willing to grab the extra QB. I'm willing to grab the extra running back. I'm willing to go a little lighter on wide receivers, specifically in these high stakes tournaments. Now, Dak ends up going to OMG here, snipes him from Homer. Homer was the team with CeeDee Lamb. I'm sure that they were really wanting Dak Prescott at pick 115. I mean, I'd imagine they're a little, I don't want to say heated here, but can't be too happy when we presumably sniped them on Evan Ingram, and then OMG snipes him on Dak Prescott on the way back around. Do we take Gibson? I mean, we've been talking about Gibson being an exciting option for a multitude of different reasons this next season at this price point in particular. Yeah, let's go Gibson. I think you can make an argument that a lot of these other running backs are exciting as well. Gibson's going to be a little more of a unique pick when he falls 8 picks past ADP here for us. Obviously, we're extremely light on wide receiver, and we are done drafting running back now. Now that we have Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Antonio Gibson, we are done drafting RB. Head says, why draft a lighter wide receiver in high stakes? So in general, if you're playing in like the Puppy or Best Ball Mania, you have to go so heavy wide receiver because you are looking just for the highest possible spike week that you can get in weeks 15, 16, 17, because it's such a large field that your week-to-week ceiling needs to be so high, and wide receivers naturally have that in higher implied volatility. So with those larger field contests, you have no other way than getting around building wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Whereas with the higher stakes, lower overall contest size, the week-to-week spikes that you actually need to advance and to win tournaments, which we won 2 high-stakes tournaments last year, won't need to be as high. So in general, I'm going to be willing to go lighter on wide receiver, specifically in these higher stakes tournaments. But Michael says, Dynasty League, should I trade Mixon for Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs or trade away Andrews? I'm assuming that this is a new Dynasty League, my friend, because you should trade away Joe Mixon for Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday. Like, there's no Dynasty League I would ever be in would make that deal. So I'm assuming it's a new Dynasty League, and yes, you have to go ahead and you have to pull the trigger. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, probably pull the trigger on Gallup here. I mean, we need a wide receiver. All these wide receivers are about the same for us. I think Khalil Herbert is an extremely strong value. I think Khalil Herbert is a much better pick than Michael Gallup in a vacuum. But it's more so like, okay, well, we already have Barkley, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Antonio Gibson. We would never take a 6 running back if it was like a puppy draft or basketball mania. Maybe, just maybe, we can get away with taking a 6 running back. But if we were to take a 6 running back here, I mean, we'd have to wait until like the last 3 rounds to do so. Now, Jeep Guy says, are you comfortable with Tua as your QB1 in a PPR redraft league? I mean, it kind of depends on the price point, right? So the thing is, if you are in that casual PPR redraft league where you're going to go through and you're going to submit your starting lineup each and every week, think about where Tua gets drafted. In this draft in particular, I mean, hell, let's just pull up the ADP that you have on Underdog. Let's look at the Underdog ADP. That way you can get a good sense of where you can assume that Tua goes in your league. So I'm sorry, just pulling this up on my phone. Give me 1 second. So Tua right now is the QB 11, right? Dak Prescott, QB 12, Kirk Cousins, QB 13, Daniel Jones, quarterback 14, Geno Smith, quarterback 15. So in general, if you weren't going to draft a great quarterback in your shallow redraft league, if you're not going to get Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Mahomes, I think you're much better off literally just waiting until the very end of the draft, one of your last few rounds, and grabbing one of those super late QB1s or high-end quarterback 2s. So yeah, it depends on the price, but if you get Tua at the very end of your draft and you're able to load up on wide receiver, running back, tight ends early on, then hell yeah, I'm fine with having Tua as our QB1. Now, do I want to go through and draft Tua like in round 5? No, not really, but. Okay, Thielen goes 136. McKinnon off the board, 137. Okay, so we're going to take Rondale Moore. Not going to think about this too much. Specifically in this style of tournament, like we were discussing, we're just kind of trying to optimize for weeks 15, 16, 17. I'd be fine here as well going ahead and looking to grab Kyler Murray as a quarterback 2 and assume that Jalen Hurts provides us with enough production to sneak into the fantasy football playoff tournament and then have a 2 QB build of Jalen Hurts as well as Kyler Murray. So let's see if we can get Kyler Murray at the very, very end here. Of course, there are a couple quarterbacks at the very, very end that I'm fine with. Henry says, I like your old dog icon better than the one you've been using lately. Honestly, I kind of agree with you, my friend. We're probably going to switch it back over. We will switch it back over. Okay. Now let's move this down. So wide receiver, we have Diggs, Mike Williams, Treylon Burks, Michael Gallup, Rondale Moore. Quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts. Tight end, we have Evan Ingram. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Antonio Gibson. Okay, let's move this down. MVS goes 145. Yeah, that's the Mahomes team. I thought that was the Fields team. Yeah, that's the Justin Fields team. They decided to pass on Komet, which is interesting. We'll go ahead. We'll take Alec Pierce. I mean, we're just going to take wide receivers here, right? They're kind of gross, but we need them. There's nothing to get around it. Jeep Guy says, well, Lance will be my QB1. I'll get him last pick. That's a much better way to go about it, my man. And I'm not joking about that either. Like, if you were in like a casual redraft league, I don't mind at all just completely punting quarterback. Of course, I mean, if you can get Jalen Hurts, if you can get Josh Allen at a good value, go ahead and do it. But if like you see your league mates going like Mahomes, Allen, Jalen Hurts round 1 or at the very beginning of round 2, I'm going to be fine completely punting QB and then literally waiting until the last round and grabbing Trey Lance, you know, and then saying, okay, well, if he's not a starter this next year, I'll stream. Or, I mean, you could also maybe see like Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins fall to you in the last round. You don't really know, of course. Okay, I'm eating blueberries. Let me know if this is disgusting. Robert says, Underdog set Dameon Pierce's touchdown total at 5.5. Let's look at this. There's no way that's true, right? Okay, rushing touchdowns. I thought you meant that was Dameon Pierce's total touchdowns there on Underdog, my friend. Total touchdowns would have kind of been crazy at 5.5. That may have been like the first more than bet I would have taken on Underdog this offseason. Rushing touchdowns, I'm just going to stay away from. Like, I think you make a strong argument that he's going to get to at least 6, but if he misses a month, who the hell knows? Like, especially on running backs, I'm not taking any more than bets. Okay. Let's move this down. Deonta Foreman, Kenny Pickett. Good for us to see these running backs go, right? I mean, Jerome Ford off the board at 155 is great for us. Gerald Everett goes. So it looks like this will be a 3 tight end build. Tyquan Thornton off 160. Oh, yes. Exactly what we need. Wide receiver making it back to us. We'll go ahead. We'll take KJ Osborne. And we will get a solid 5 points from him this next season. Just like I like it. So now, this wide receiver room's coming together. Oh, this is beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever seen a wide receiver room this beautiful? We have Stephon Diggs, Mike Williams, Treylon Burks. Ooh. Then down here, this is really the core of it, right? Oh. I'm sure that our league mates are shaking in fear. They're shaking like a leaf looking at our wide receiver core coming together. Gallup, Rondale Moore, Alec Pierce, KJ Osborne. No better way to go out there and spend $100 than drafting Michael Gallup, Rondale Moore, Alec Pierce, KJ Osborne, all back to back to back. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Now let's move this down. Kyler goes 167, so Kyler looks like he's sadly no longer in play for us. Hyatt continues to fall as he should. Sam Laporta moving up these draft boards. Ooh, getting spicy. Is there any Sam Laporta news? Let me pull this up. Search on Twitter, Sam Laporta, as I always thought I would this time of year. Sam Laporta. I don't see anything. He's a good looking dude. Looks pretty big. Kurt says, great for my Laporta shares. I got him at the beginning of Basketball Mania and was going at 206. Definitely looking at his ADP now, my friend. I wish that I grabbed him some as well, but, I am sadly not smart enough to do such a thing. So I'm sitting with no Sam Laporta and do not plan to change that anytime soon. Was there any Marvin Mims news, or should we go Wan'Dale Robinson? Do we have a rookie with this team? We have Javonte. We have no Giant. Actually, we have Barkley. We'll go Wan'Dale. I mean, especially with the bad Jalen Hyatt news. It's kind of funny y'all know we were talking about Wan'Dale Robinson in my mind as a player that should kind of be drafted ahead of Wan'Dale Robinson when they were separated by 30, 40 picks in ADP earlier in the offseason. And now you see Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Dale Robinson go 2 to 3 picks after each other. So, Paris Campbell goes here. So look at this. This is awesome. This is really cool here. You have Jalen Hyatt 170, Wan'Dale Robinson 173, Paris Campbell 174. Just back to back to back. Okay. Let's move this down. So now after we take Wan'Dale, we are essentially locked and loaded into going with another quarterback and then 2 more tight ends. And real quick, if you have not dropped a like in this live stream, go down there, hit that like button. If we hit 350 likes on the stream, we'll fire up another draft after this one. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, make sure to go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. But yeah, and I didn't even notice this as well. Jesse says Hodgins 172. Yeah, so you have Hyatt 170, Hodgins 172, Wan'Dale 173, Paris Campbell 174. Super interesting there. Super interesting. Okay. And yeah, it looks like we have 400 people watching this. So if you really want another draft, you should be able to easily get one by going down there and hitting that like button. Okay. There's no better way to recap $100 draft than going ahead and taking Trey Lance. Ooh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay. Now, we are just back-to-back tight ends. Chief Smoke, yes, I would go ahead and I would hop into a Best Ball Mania draft after this. Okay. So tight ends, Conklin, decent value. Gesicki, maybe they don't sign Hopkins. Michael Mayer, I think he's actually a much better tight end than Sam Laporta, if I'm going to be honest with you. McBride, we have Rondale Moore. Maybe we make a bet that Arizona's a little bit better than people expect. I'd probably prefer Ferguson over Musgrave. Then we'll go Musgrave. I don't really want to take Likely. Probably go Noah Fant, then Isaiah Likely. All right. So we have our tight ends queued up. Okay. Duke says, what's the downside of drafting both Brock Purdy and Trey Lance? Why would I draft the backup quarterback in San Francisco if I already have the starter, my friend? There's some merit to drafting both if you think that Lance gets traded, which is definitely a possibility. Like, if you think Lance ends up getting traded, I could understand why you want to go ahead and grab both Trey Lance and Brock Purdy in a draft. Now, we'll go ahead and we'll take Michael Mayer here, 197, a player that's definitely fallen down a ton. And generally, I'm not drafting rookie tight ends, right? Like, generally, I'm not drafting rookie tight ends. So definitely, if I'm looking at like the Sam Laporta ADP, no thanks. But if I'm getting him in the last round, second to last round, sure, we'll mix it in. Jesse's asking why we're chewing our water. I have some blueberries in here, my friend. I will say, if y'all want a sweet treat, here's what you do. You fill up a cup of water, and it will also incentivize you to drink some water, because I think everybody watching this, including myself, can drink some more water. You fill up a cup of water. You put some frozen blueberries in there. Frozen blueberries cool the water down, kind of like ice. And then by the time you're done with your water, you have some blueberries to enjoy. Jeep Guy coming out says, for the love of God, hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're about 50 likes away from firing up another draft after this one. Dwayne McBride, Jimmy Garoppolo, both off the board. And I will go ahead and pull out my phone and drop a like on this live stream myself as well. Hard for me to tell you to drop a like if I haven't even done it myself. Bam. Okay. Let's see what tight end we are going to get. For the love of God, Lance, please start this next season. Please, please. Please, Trey Lance, be the starting quarterback for a team. Even if you're the starting quarterback in Washington, if you're the starting quarterback in Atlanta, if you're the starting quarterback anywhere, I'll be happy. Okay, Pierre Strong goes 208. Let me know, what tight end would y'all want here? Would y'all want Ferguson, Musgrave, Fant, or Isaiah Likely? Please spam the chat. Let me know what you want. Okay. Likely, Fant, Musgrave or Fant, Musgrave, Ferguson, Henry. Okay, it looks like y'all are just completely off. I mean, completely everywhere. How about this? Because we already have a rookie tight end, we won't take the other rookie tight end. We'll be between Fant and Likely and see who y'all chose more. It's like more people took Likely. I guess we'll go ahead and take Isaiah Likely. Not a fan of it. Not too excited to do it. But, I mean, it kind of is what it is. I mean, hopefully we have okay tight end production there. Obviously, we're heavily relying on Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, please do something for us. Okay, well, let's move this down. Show this draft board off. But looks like that's probably going to be it for the live stream. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, hanging out with me. Really do appreciate y'all. Don't worry, we'll be live literally every single day until the season starts, and we'll be live every single day during the year as well, just not with these underdog drafts. Instead, we'll be just answering fantasy football questions then. But thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. Really, really do appreciate y'all. And real quick side note, of course, you want to get in an underdog draft with us going forward. We're doing this every single day. It's never too late. Go sign up to Underdog, use promo code FLOCK, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get my 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com. Just because y'all already do so much for me, what's one more thing? When I end this live stream, if y'all could go down there and leave a comment, regardless of whatever it is, just help us with the algorithm. I would really appreciate you. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Really hope you have a great weekend and really hope we get to see you with the live stream tomorrow.